everybody, Jen here, and I am going to do a little bit of a different video. I know a lot of people have been sharing their December dailies from previous years, so I decided I was going to do the same thing. Last year was my first year doing December daily, and I kind of failed. I did fantastic getting it all set up and getting the cover done and doing most days, and then I got through December 22nd and stopped. Don't know what happened. I just completely stopped. So I never made it all the way through Christmas, but I do have, it is pretty full, and it is complete up until the 22nd. So I figure I will just show you. So use a snap album, a Simple Stories snap album in red. And I actually painted it white with some craft paint, and then I used an acrylic sealer so that nothing would get stuck to it. And actually I have some pattern on the back here. I don't know from what, must have gotten stuck to something. And then I used a Simple Stories 6x8 cut apart from the December Documented collection as my cover page. And then I put a couple of wood veneer snowflakes and a wood veneer book plate I had gotten at Michael's on clearance, and I found the Michael's ornaments, the wood veneer that you could get last year, and I think they're selling them again this year. I bought one of the Christmas trees that has like swirls in it, backed it with some green cardstock, and then painted all the wood veneer actually with my Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine, and then glued a piece of gold ribbon down. And last year I didn't even think to use adhesive ribbon, and I used the adhesive gold ribbon on this year's album. It was so much easier. So no more gluey fingers here. It took forever for it to dry. I had to hold it in place so that it would stay down. But that's my cover. I kind of failed here as well. I didn't put anything in the front cover. I don't plan to do anything in the front cover this year either. I'm just planning to leave it plain. I was planning to, on this first page, planning to do like a December manifesto. Never got around to it, never ended up doing it. I am planning this year to write one and actually write it in the next couple of weeks so that I know that it's in here. I did prep over the course of November this album. I did a couple of chipboard, I think 2 or 3 of them, the thick chipboard, which I'm not going to be repeating this year because it was too thick. But I covered them in different Christmas papers. I used a combination of Simple Stories December Documented, Simple Stories Homemade Holiday, and the Heidi Swapp, I think it was Believe collection. And then I did buy a couple of random sheets of Christmas paper that I used. But that was essentially, and then I used a 6x6 Studio Calico Magical. I do not like to have everything kind of matchy-match. I use all different manufacturers, all different collections, and I don't feel the need to have things match from page to page. I do like to have, like if it's a two-page spread, I want it to match, but from one page to the next, it doesn't have to match. So this was a chipboard frame that I had put down, and with intentions, didn't happen. So I'll start off with my day one. My day one was our Christmas tree. We decorate our Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving every year. So it was already up before December 1st, but I decided to use it because I wanted to document the tree. So I used a couple of brads and some of the glitter ribbon, and I did a mix of plastic page protectors in between. So there are some days that are a 2-page spread, some days that are just a 1. There are a couple envelopes in here, and one of them is like one day is the whole envelope. There's another day that half of its front is one day and the back is another. So it all depends on how much I had going on. So for all of my numbers, I'm pretty sure all of them, I used the Simple Stories December Documented. I used the big 12x12 sheet, and I used my X-Acto knife and cut around all the numbers. There was a full sheet that had just numbers on it, so I cut around, and that took forever. Cut out all the numbers and backed them or put them on whatnot, and so numbers, they're a little bit different, but they all match. So I just matted my photo here, used some wood veneer with some stickles, and took 2 different photos of our tree, documented. And then day 2, so see here, it's a different it's a different pattern, but it's all the same. It's from the same sheet. This was day 2. I did, we have a Santa collection that we put on top of our entertainment center, and this was still during the decorating process, so there's some things up here that don't really belong, but we don't have a fireplace in my house, so ooh, that glare, I'm sorry, I'm doing this at night, and I'm realizing that the glare from my overhead lights is really bad. But we have a Santa collection. We don't have a fireplace, so we don't have a mantle. We use this as, like, say, our Christmas mantle, and every year we get a new Santa or a snowman. So they kind of hang out up here all winter or all Christmas long. We leave the snowmen up for quite a while, but the Santas go away after Christmas. And then I documented about our Santa collection. And then for day 3, this is one of the days I used an envelope. I used a craft envelope from Hobby Lobby and did a little layout here with some jewels and a frame and some washi tape and stickers, and it says, "Dear Santa, my wish." And I covered the back with music note paper and put a sticker and put stickers here that say open. And in here, last year, at the beginning of December, one of my friends, more of an acquaintance, actually asked me, I don't have kids right now, I'm single, not married, no kids. They asked me that when I had kids, if I would allow them to believe in Santa Claus. And it was a really funny question, and it struck me oddly. So I just kind of brushed it off. I said, of course I would, and I kind of changed the subject, and I didn't really want to get into it because that's none of my business as to why one person over another would, you know, promote Santa versus not promote Santa. And I wrote, you know, not that, you know, you need to know this, but I am religious as well, and I think that, you know, there's religion has a place in Christmas, and so does Santa for kids. So I actually wrote this giant letter to Santa Claus, and it just kind of details all of my thoughts about that conversation and why it's important to me, in addition to religion and, you know, Christmas and magic and the magic of innocence. So I wrote that all down and I stuck that in here, and I've gone back and I've reread it a couple of times, and I think it's a nice thing to keep because that conversation really got me thinking as to what is important to me in terms of Christmas traditions. So sorry about the little tangent there. So day 4 was the outside of our house here. We decorated it, and I realized that there's a string of lights out here that I ended up fixing that night, but I had taken the picture before I realized that they were out, and matted the photo and used a couple of embellishments here. Here's my number, again, matches the rest of them, and then I used some glitter thickers here, and I actually used a clip here to put a small little piece of pattern paper with some ornament decorations, but in here is hidden journaling because my handwriting is really bad, so I try to hide it as often as I possibly can. So the clip not only adds interest to the top of the album, it has a purpose and keeps that closed. Use some sequins down here. It hadn't snowed yet, so there's no snow on the ground. So the day 5, I used some last year I used a lot of wood veneer and I stickled it. I did different color stickles on it, and all over random places. And I really like the stickles. I like how it came out. It gives a little bit of dimension and a little bit of glitter. So I had gotten my Cameo on Black Friday, and I hadn't really played with it, hadn't had a lot of time to play with it. So I had sat down and made this little saying that is from The Grinch. It's maybe Christmas he thought doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas he thought, or perhaps means a little bit more. So that was my first, actually the very first thing I cut out with my Cameo, or that I designed and cut out with my Cameo. And then I documented here about my favorite Christmas movies, and I had no photo for this day, so I just went online and found photos of my favorite Christmas movies and did a collage with them and documented about and kind of wrote here and why I like them. And then this is all day 6. So day 6, I took photos of my 2 favorite ornaments, and they're both Mickey, they're both Disney. I'm a big Disney fan, so I have tons and tons of Disney themed ornaments. So I took photos of them and documented here, put a filler card here, and I was all on that bandwagon of making your own shaker pockets, and my number actually has fallen off, so I have to re-glue it. But I had made, this has sequins and some bling in here, and put a paper clip here. I could probably actually just stick this under the paper clip for now so it doesn't come off. Maybe. There we go, just so that I don't lose it. And then I glued the number, because I've made these prior, made the pockets before starting December, so I didn't want to put a number in there and then not decide I didn't want to use it. And then I did back all of my shaker pockets in some type of cardstock. So the black goes well with the red and white here. And then the 7th, this day I actually, instead of using the cutout for day 7, I used the Simple Stories, like the snap card that had the 7 on it. So that's, I don't know if you can see that, it's not actually cut, it's on the card. On the 7th, we ended up going, I live about a half an hour from my local IKEA, and I was going actually to get my scrapbook. One of my tables, I have like the $20 scrapbook, not scrapbook tables, but tables that you can buy separately with the legs. So I needed a second one for my scrapbook room. So I took the trip down with my mom. We drove down and bought the table. And next door there's a Jordan's Furniture, which is like a local furniture store. There's a couple of them in the area, 2 or 3 of them in New England. And every year they do the Enchanted Christmas Village, which is like a walk-through with animatronics, and they do fake snow, and there are all these Christmas scenes. So we waited in line and we went through it and really enjoyed it. We made a whole day out of it. So I took some photos of a Christmas scene, and then kept the little brochure here regarding it. There was an ice skating rink you could go skating, and we didn't do that. But then I took another picture here, decorated with a tag with some baker's twine, and put some twine through these chipboard buttons, and took a picture of this gorgeous tree. And then actually, I was trying to use up these rub-ons. They're not the best quality rub-ons. They don't stick all that well. But I ended up using up a whole ton of them, and they look like snow. And they had like the fake snow coming down all in this display, so I kind of used it to simulate that. And then December 8th, I did my numbers here, and this was a big one. This was mission accomplished. I have a 23-year-old sister who is a huge video game freak. She loves video games, and all she wanted was what she wanted for Christmas was a PlayStation 4. And as you know, they were nearly impossible to find last year. So we've been looking and looking and looking, and then I had heard about, I don't know, I got an email about midnight, maybe 1 a.m. that they were going to have limited supplies at Best Buy on the 8th. So I got the email at like midnight of the 8th, and so I don't think I slept the entire night. I think I, kind of stayed up and then left my house at like 4 in the morning, got in line at 4:30. I was 25th in line, and we got her a PlayStation 4. So we wrapped it all up, and I wrote here the whole story. It was freezing. It was a really cold day. That was quite the wait. It was like Black Friday all over again. And they ended up only having 30, so if I'd been 50 minutes later, I wouldn't have been able to get one. So that was pretty neat. Something I definitely want to document. Then we had our first snow, and this was playing with a Cameo, trying to mimic some of the Scraptastic cuts. I wasn't a Scraptastic member at that point in time, so I was trying to make my own kits. And then I heat embossed some wood veneer snowflakes with white embossing powder to make them look more realistic, and documented our dusting of a first snow. And then the next day we ended up getting about 3 to 4 inches more. And here's another shaker pocket I made that has a snowflake and some different snow-colored little things in there, and a random yellow flower. I don't know how that got in there, but anyway, more snow and some snowflakes. And then my day 11 here. This was probably one of my favorite numbers of the entire December daily, and it's just using scrap paper. I used a scrap circle and then this end of a sticker I had and put it down so it looks like it's this big layered thing. I really liked how it came out. This day my cousin and I went to go see Frozen in theaters, and I was planning a Disney trip with one of my friends that I work with. She's a pediatrician, and so I got in the mail the flash drive that had all this information about the new Magic Bands at the time, and that was kind of neat. So that was exciting, getting ready for our March Disney trip. December 12th, I finished my Christmas shopping, and I took a picture of the almost near empty mall. It was a Thursday. Didn't have too much to kind of say about it, except I finished everything I needed to get done. And then December 13th, did more of the cameo cuts, and this is the day I sent out my Christmas cards. And I had so much fun with my cameo. I'm going to see if I can show you. I stuck a Sharpie in there, and I decorated. This was the first year I made my own Christmas cards. They were very simple. I decided last minute I was going to make them, but on the envelopes, oh, I really shouldn't show addresses. I don't think you can see them anyway, but on the envelopes, I used my cameo with the Sharpie to do designs right on the envelope. It was really neat, and I addressed my envelopes that way because my handwriting is so bad that I thought it would be kind of cool for my friends to get something they could actually read. And then I wrapped all my gifts on the 14th. This was a before picture and after picture, not too exciting. Pretty basic page. And then I did some Christmas baking the next day on the 15th, and I did some hidden journaling here, as well as, did I do hidden? No, I didn't do hidden there. I did some regular journaling there, and was making cookies for our work Christmas party that I brought to work. And then that was the 15th. The 16th, I didn't have a picture, didn't do much, probably. I was probably working, and so I decided to document. Last year they had the Glade Christmas commercial that came out that had the children's choir singing, and oh my god, I loved that song. It was easily became my favorite song of the season, and they released another version that Jordan Sparks, I don't even know who that is, sang, and it was not nearly as good as the one they showed on the commercial. The kids' voices are what really made it, but I put the lyrics down here and talked about in my journaling here that I stuck behind here that it really wasn't as good, but the whole meaning of the song, that it really isn't that we're such a commercial society. Christmas is not meant to be commercial, but it really is. So I kind of documented my feelings about that. And then the 17th, this was probably one of my favorite little pages I did. I used another one of those craft envelopes, covered it in some paper, and used one of these frames and a tag, put some holiday music here, and inside stuck my current favorite Christmas songs, and they tend to change from year to year, so I just printed them off the computer and stuck them in the envelope. But I really liked how that envelope ended up looking. It was really festive and really cute. And then the 18th is actually my birthday. I turned 29 last year, and this I had to laugh. I came downstairs on my birthday, and I'm currently living with my mom and my little sister. I'm in grad school, and it was more economical to sell my condo and move home than try to work full-time, go to grad school full-time. So I just moved back in with my mom. So it's the three of us living in our house. And last year I came down on my birthday, and my cake had already been half eaten. So my sister grabbed a piece before she went to work. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then I documented what I got. My big gift was a new printer. And we went to see Trans-Siberian Orchestra that night on my birthday. And I see them try to see them almost every year, if not every other. So I kind of wrote about that. There's a little thing stuck behind here. And then the 19th is when we all put our gifts under our tree, and that was kind of funny. I used another one of those cards, the snap cards, and I thought it was funny because my mom still wants us to believe in Santa, and she said, well, we can't put our gifts under the tree. Santa hasn't come. I said, I had to remind my mom that we were opening gifts on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day this year, because my mom and I were going away, leaving Christmas Day evening, and my sister had to work. She's a TSA officer in Boston, so she was currently working like the opening shift, so she had to leave our house at like 3:30 to get there for 5. Or 3 o'clock even to get there for 5. So we did gifts Christmas Eve. So we put them under the tree. I just took a picture of that. And then this is an awful, horrible picture of me. But I wanted to document my Christmas scrubs. I'm a pediatric nurse currently. So I just took a really bad selfie of myself on my way to work, and I was half asleep when I did that. That was the 20th. And then the 21st, I tried one of, I don't know if it's bokeh or bouquet, the shot with your camera to make everything kind of look shimmery. So I tried that. I think it came out pretty good. Used another one of these wood veneer that I stickled. You'd use stickles on, and I tried to use like clear for ornaments, but it kind of sponged. But it was okay. I used one of these buttons. I talked about that bouquet or bokeh shot. And then this would be my last page, December 22nd. I took a photo of making hot chocolate, and I wrote my recipe. It's behind here of how I make hot chocolate. I use some of these cool holly brads and a really old button and a couple of stickers. And that was it. I stopped there. I failed. I didn't even get the most important part of Christmas. And I probably will not go back and finish it. I only like to do things I can really give good details on. I don't think I have any pictures for the 22nd or 23rd or 24th. I worked both of those days. Had to work Christmas Eve. And then the 25th, yes, it was Christmas, but we took no photos. I did take a couple pictures on Christmas Eve of us opening gifts, but I know Christmas Day we took no photos. We were at my cousin's house, and by the time we had finished Christmas dinner, my mom and I had to run out of there because we were leaving we were going to drive to Florida. We were leaving on a cruise on the 28th. So we left the 25th at night to evade. I think we were supposed to get snow or something along those lines. So I have no pictures. I was planning to go through the 31st. We were, like I said, we went on a cruise from the 28th through the beginning of the year, and then spent 2 weeks in South Carolina on the way back. But it was too lofty of an idea. So this year I am only going through the 25th. I'm going to make sure I finish through the 25th and hopefully I'll be able to do it. But I really like this book. I really like how it came out, even though I didn't finish it. I did stick a 6x8 page protector here and stuck in all of the Christmas cards and birthday cards I received last year. All the important ones that had photos and stuff. The ones that really don't have photos I didn't stick in, but everything that was important I did stick in. So I thought that was a good way to keep my Christmas cards so I knew what year they came from. So that is my December daily for 2013. I really enjoyed doing it, and I'm really, really excited about doing this year's December daily. I've already gotten started on it, and I will hopefully be sharing with you my process. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.